I've just gone straight into the recording because
okay.
I forgot to
Well,
click
that's
test.
fine. Well,
it doesn't matter. It always
it's fine.
works, doesn't it?
It works. This time I'll be deadly silent.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Vice Press Open Channel. We talk about things we've made, watched, and done. I'm Florey. That's James Henshaw.
Hello.
That's Matt Ferguson. And today, we're talking about a bit of TV. Some good shows out at the moment. The new golden age of television. I don't know if anyone else has said that. I just decided to say it right now. Might do some questions. James will probably try to talk about golf. And yeah, we're just going to have our usual ramble. So where do we want to start, guys? What's been happening this week? We'll do our little rundown. What's been happening?
Steelbooks. Steelbooks was this week.
Oh yeah, we sold a load of them.
Oh my god.
A load.
Steelbook
Heaps.
collectors.
No.
No, I'm not knocking anybody.
I'll knock them if you want.
They're very passionate, and if stuff doesn't sell out, boy, they don't want it.
Read that for pernickety collectors, and that's like collectors is everything. It's like I collect Transformers, and I'm very specific about what I like and what I want from them. However, I don't go up to people that make Transformers and go, "You've done it wrong" or anything like that. So that's just something people should bear in mind. Also, when we're making and designing these things, it's not just us. It's a bunch of people involved, and you have to have happy compromises to get a product to market. So not everything can be done, and that you've got to take into account all manner of factors that people that buy the things don't necessarily think about.
Put it this way, I quite like the cover for 1917, okay? Put it that way.
Yeah, 1917 is great.
Yeah, we can't buy it on Steelbook.
Yeah, that was my point. We don't choose these things. We put our names on them. We work hard on them, but you can't win them all. Anyway,
in general, it's a win though. Like if you've got 100%. Something out and it's physical, that's a win. And everybody involved wants to make the best thing that they can, and it's just people have different opinions. Even us three have different opinions about what we want and what we should do. So then you have happy compromises, don't you? Or you just listen to me. In the end,
yeah,
annoyingly, he's usually right as well, which is it pains me to say. Usually,
I would say that most of the time, a lot of the time, that is right, or
usually,
at least
90% of the time, we just all agree anyway, don't we? So.
Yeah. And I think we're all very passionate about what we want because we all have a very clear vision of what we want, and if that's compromised by somebody else's vision, but then. I think the best thing was when we were kind of, in hindsight, it's hilarious because we spend an hour arguing and being little bitches with each other about something that in the grand scheme of things, 4 weeks later, I'm like, are we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Oh, because I was being a little bitch about not wanting to do that. That's why we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I am never a little bitch about anything. I'm always very level-headed.
You're a big bitch. You're a big bitch. That's why.
I never kick off, and I never say everybody else is wrong and I'm right. I've never said that in my life.
My favourite thing.
Very open to other people's ideas and input. Honestly,
this isn't me knocking you, Matt. This is just what I found.
Here we
it's
go.
Hilarious because I love you. You know, you mean the world to me. But one of my favourite things is when you're so passionate and adamant against something, and you get really riled up and angry. And then 4 weeks later, I'll say, right, okay, so we're doing this, and you go, so why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I live in the moment. Yeah, guy. That's how it is. I live in the moment.
He's also like a fish who he's got a 2-second memory, so
can't remember.
You wanted to. Because I didn't sleep that night because you wanted to.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Literally,
that's why I was really annoyed about, like, for example, some quotation marks on something recently where I didn't want quotation marks on it, and then I was like looking at it the other day and I was like, I don't know why I was so bothered about that at the time. I'd prefer it without, but like,
Yeah,
to be honest, you
yeah.
go, well, whatever.
I know it is. You get caught up in the moment.
Maybe it's once I've got my own way, then I no longer care about it anymore because I got my own way. It's probably a bit of that.
I think we're all very similar in that regard because we all hang our hats on something and we will die by that grave, even though in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter.
Totally.
But you give an inch, they'll take a mile. You got to stick to your guns.
So that happened this week.
I don't even know what we're really talking about. It feels like marriage counseling a little bit. I'm just sitting here listening to you two like passive aggressively like fight about the goings on of Vice Press, but
there's nothing passive aggressive about it.
It's just actually aggressive, yeah.
We just can't. Neither of us can remember the specifics. That's the problem.
No.
We just know there's a nebulous sort of. I had an opinion on something.
A strong opinion.
Well, it's why the dynamic works, right? Like, look at both of our marriages, Matt. I think both of our partners kind of appreciate the type of people that we are, and I think that's kind of like in our working relationship. We just kind of understand. Okay, well, it's how it is. It doesn't mean it's a good working relationship, and I think more companies, more businesses should work like that, but they can't.
They never sort of just speak their mind, and I think that in a lot of workplaces, people don't sort of just speak their mind. They sort of go round about things or whatever. Whereas I don't know if you know this about me, but I just speak my mind to anybody and everyone. So I think it can catch some people off guard. Maybe James is used to it now. It's much better than like just going, okay, well, we'll just do this then, because then it becomes lame. Whatever it is that you're doing, you've got to just
everything. So there is always a passion behind everything that we do. It's like yesterday, I showed you something, and you were like, that I really liked, and you were like, no, I fucking hate that. Or you weren't quite.
I didn't say that. I said that's maybe not for me.
No, and so that kind of thing. Yeah.
Maybe
I
not
read
for
you
me.
prefixed it with you really like this. So I was like, well, I don't want to say he's fucking blind, but
but that's taste sometimes, isn't it?
Well, I suppose, but I've always known since an early age that I've got better taste than everybody else.
Well, clearly, look at the company you share.
Exactly, I like you guys.
Yeah. There we go. How about you, Florey? What have you been up to?
Well, no one needs to hear about any of that. Life, mate. No, what have I been doing?
I like your shirt.
Oh, it's an X-Men shirt.
Oh, is it?
He's all in on that. He's all in on the X-Men. That's a good.
That's a classy shirt. That's a classy X-Men shirt.
What a fucking racket you just made.
That was the sound of my navel hair brushing against the microphone for all you hornbags out there.
It's a nice lead-in to talk about the X-Men cartoon.
It is.
Yes, we should. Episode 5 had me, rolling around on the floor crying like a big baby girl. Absolutely loved it. What an insane show.
I thought it was good, yeah.
Episode 5 is up there as one of the best pieces of animation TV ever made, I think. It's phenomenal.
100%.
I liked how animated when there was strong sort of Akira vibes.
100%. As soon as that man got on a motorbike, I was like, I know what they're going to do.
Well, just
and
they
giant did it.
Three-headed beast that appears and blows up half the city. I was like, that's straight out of Akira. That stuff is awesome.
So I guess we'll prefix this. We're going to go into massive spoiler territories, I think. So if you're not watched,
we don't have to prefix.
No, you do. You do.
Do we have to prefix it?
Yeah,
it's the internet.
It's just nice.
Internet.
So anyway, that show's pretty good.
What's quite interesting about it is when we first spoke about X-Men, this new show, when it first came out a few weeks ago, I think for the most part, a lot of us guessed the story beats that have happened, with Madeline Pryor, with Nathan, with Cable, and such. But what is I think none of us expected is how well it was executed. So even though we kind of guessed what were the stories that were going to happen, we all know X-Men, we all know the X-Men lore, you can kind of see it coming. the success has been in the execution of this program.
I didn't expect them to kill those two characters off.
Oh no, I didn't expect that.
But it's really good because then it's like any good program where they do that. You remember like Game of Thrones when they killed Sean Bean, and it was like, oh right, so the star of the show can get done in because Magneto is basically the star of the show, and Gambit's awesome.
Yeah.
So then it just means that anything could happen. So then it just leaves you more excited to watch what's next because literally they could do anything. If they're willing to kill Magneto, I mean he'll probably come back somehow. But if they're willing to do that, then they're willing to do anything, and it just means you just don't know what to expect, and that's good.
I think they've already thrown themselves a bit of a lifeline with that, and I think it'll get undone in the next episode because Cable popping up and going, "Oops, 10 minutes too early. Oh, see you in a minute."
They might do a bit of time travel shenanigans and undo it, yeah, but
it doesn't undermine the emotional impact.
I would like it if it was permanent.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I could take it either way. It's a bit like the Storm thing, right? Depowering Storm in episode 2, I think it was. That was the start of like, oh, okay, we're doing stuff here. It's not just like just because they're on the toy box, they're not all sticking around. You know, we're going to mess this up a bit. This just took that to the extreme, obviously, murdering almost the entire mutant population in freaking 2 minutes or whatever with this gigantic kaiju thing, and then killing off all the main characters, or a bunch of them at least. And then I just think that Cable was definitely in there for a reason. They're not.
Yeah, I just like it when characters have an end and it's cool. You know, it's like Gambit really. It's like, okay, so he's the most awesome guy ever. So therefore, if they just bring him back, it kind of undermines it. It depends how they bring him back, but no matter what, it would undermine that moment, wouldn't it?
I partially agree. I sort of half agree. Like, I want what I would probably like is if we go next episode is because there is a part 2 to Storm's thing that was labeled part 1. So I don't know when that comes, but what I would probably do now is have like a fallout episode, not fallout from what's happened, not the actual show fallout, which we'll talk about in a minute. Fallout from what's happened, then maybe we go back to Storm and Forge the episode after that. So we let it sit and we get to see what's happened in the world once all the mutants have been murdered.
It's like a permanent thing. It's not quite to the same level, but it's like Tony Stark in Endgame. If they ever bring Robert Downey Jr. back, other than being like a hologram, then it just undermines that whole amazing sort of legacy. And this isn't to that kind of level, obviously, but it's that kind of thing where a character has done.
I think we can.
I like it when stuff is done. You know, it's done now.
Yeah, but I think we can do both with just because of the sort of insane soap opera kind of show that totally. It is.
It suits it to be ridiculous and him to just appear or them to unravel it with some.
So at like the end of episode 9, I think there's 10 episodes. At the end of episode 9, if Bishop and Cable just walk into the X-Mansion through a portal and go, right, all of you come with us right now, we need to do it exactly this way or something, that would be fucking hype as hell. And then just episode 10 is just like fixing the massacre or whatever. I could go for that. Because Gambit can't die after doing that. Like, I need it. I need him back. I need my guy.
That's why it's good that they did that, though, because it makes a really strong character, strong narrative. There's a reason why he did it.
I don't disagree, but I need pink playing cards as well, you know? Like, I need...
I mean, the suit that he had on was so cool, and then he's like...
You know what I loved actually about it the most was that they...
Mon ami.
Cool. The new voice actor is so good, but you expect that to go like that whole episode to go a certain way, like, right? Sort of like the whole Magneto and Rogue angle, like doing all their business right in front of him. But he doesn't like crack it and like be an asshole. He's just like, okay, well, we're friends for now then. And he's just like, then you're like, and
it's cool. It's like just so cool. He's like literally cool.
And like he's a good guy as well, which is just you're just like, oh man, this really is the best. I just can't see any. I think they're really gonna fuck up this is really gonna make the MCU mutant stuff really difficult because this is just too good.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
It really is. It really is, and I kind of agree with both of you. I'm on the fence. I do think Florey are right. I think that's going to be the
Totally.
overriding
They'll bring him back and everything.
arch in how they do it, and it's kind
They
of
give
going
us time for it to suck that they're not around, you know?
Just
Yeah.
don't make it TVA related or the
Mm.
golden timeline nonsense or any of that stuff. Because me personally, I like that it's its own self-contained thing. So it's the time stuff with cable and all that. That would be the way to go, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
And how much did that dude that was voicing him sound like Josh Brolin?
Cable. Guy.
Yeah.
Cable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
I
I
didn't
had to
notice
check.
it.
I was like, I think I got Josh Brolin to do that. It wasn't.
Just doing
But
a
it was
gravelly
really-
impression.
Yeah, doing a really good voice. But
That's
Did he have
something
a
I
big
really like
giant-
about.
Did he have a big giant gun? Because Cable should always have a
Yeah,
big giant
so
gun.
he was modeled more off the because we watched a chunk of the original show before this came on, just me and the kids, and he was modeled in the original show. Cable is in it even before
Yeah, he is,
because they do a lot of stuff in that show with like, oh, we'll just use this character now. We don't really know like what
So
if
he
we're
looks
going to do
cool,
that
yeah.
actual storyline with him. Well, he just looks different, and I was interesting that they modeled him on here. They didn't give him like the glowing eye; he just kind of had the black stuff around it like he did in the old show. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next time he shows up, he does look more like comic accurate, you know?
yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Lots of pouches and a big gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Metal arm, all
Yeah.
that sort of gear.
you can't be 90s X-Men without a shitload of pouches.
Exactly right.
So yeah, 10 stars. That 100%.
10 stars.
10
yeah,
stars.
100%. Yeah.
I
I do-
cannot wait and to see, like, this is at the moment, I think there's better shows on TV, but for me, this is just like, I'm like, it's Tuesday, Wednesday. Like, I just want the next
Yeah,
one.
it's
you
like it's like a fun one, and that's sort of like the same sort of vibe with the Fallout TV show in that it's fun to watch.
Mm.
You know,
we may as well just move with that brilliant segue there from Mr. Matthew Ferguson. Fallout started up, and I think we've all watched. Well, I've only watched the first episode, so we'll just talk about that and then
Watched
just
three.
generalities. I think, yeah.
Yeah, so I've watched episode 1 as well.
Well,
It
you
gets
go,
better.
James. What you think
really? It
about
gets
old
better?
Fallout?
it gets better. Yeah,
So I'm going to preface this with I've never played the games. Never played the
Okay.
games. Don't know about the games. I know there was a couple that were kind of initially back in like the mid-90s that were kind of Final Fantasy-esque in terms of their...
top-down RPG.
Well, it's RPGs,
Yeah.
yeah.
I played them all.
Then they moved
Really?
more to third-person.
Every
shooter.
single one
Have
I
you?
played. Yeah.
Oh wow! So this is going to be interesting for you then watching it through. I just thought for
Amazing.
me, it grabbed me that first 10 minutes, that first opening sequence, how they did it. Walton Goggins is always one of the MVPs in anything he's in anyway. The guy's perfect.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. But that opening scene, you kind of learned about his character, the humanity, his daughter, and then the whole thumbs up thing, and just how well it was executed, and just
It doesn't cover the explosion.
yeah. Is it
my
your
thumb
thumb
or
or my
yours?
thumb?
Holy Jesus!
Oh man!
Yeats.
So I think that's one of the best. That opening sequence is phenomenal. It grabbed
And
me.
that
Loved it.
shot
People-
too. That shot of him on the, he's just like riding out in slow motion on the horse, and all the bombs
Horse,
are just
yeah.
going off.
I like
Wow.
the people, who obviously own the house, getting in their bomb shelter, and he's like, "You're not coming in here," knocking the other one out. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. Like to me, Fallout's always been a better world and premise than actual games. I'm a Fallout 3 guy, so I played like a whole shitload of that, which to me is probably the best one. New Vegas, people like that, but that kind of
Fallout 3, Fallout 4 is nearly as good as Fallout 3 as well. Yeah.
yeah. So
I
I
like
played
them
a whole bunch of that, but I don't know what I was saying. What was I saying? The world. I love the world more than I like the games, and I think that's where this now shines because they're just using all these amazing ideas, like the 1960s nuclear family mixed with weird droids, futurism stuff, but then nuked and then down like the whole like vault dwellers, surface dwellers, raiders, mutants, Brotherhood of Steel, all that shit is just so cool. And then to have
Bottle caps, man. They got using the bottle caps.
the
as money.
Nuka-Cola
I'm
bottle
like,
caps.
wow.
all that stuff is just almost too perfect. Like it's so suited to this kind of show. And I'll tell you what, I think the whole because Jonathan Nolan is the showrunner on this. I think along with somebody else whose name I don't know. This chap may end up being the best Nolan, in my opinion. Like, the shows
Didn't he do Westworld?
He did Westworld.
I mean,
which
that was awesome, wasn't it?
I mean, I don't say what you will about season 2, 3, whatever. Season 1 of that show is perfect. It is
Incredible,
a perfect season of television. And I don't know, I can't even remember what else he's done, but I'm just like, whenever this guy does a show, it's good. Like, real good. And I can't wait to watch more of this.
It's also got influences from outside of the game in terms of, like, having Kyle MacLachlan's very much on purpose because it's got Twin Peaks vibes to it. It's got that kind of, like, quirky sense of humour. Because the games are inadvertently funny, and they take the piss out of that in it as well, where they have game-ish things. It's like my wife said, this is kind of like Mandalorian, where, you know, Mandalorian has to go get something, and then there's a side quest, because to get that, they got to do it. And there's bits like that. There's a bit where she has to get, the guy has to get something repaired, but he has to, like, do a little mini side quest first to get enough caps to get it repaired, and it's just like a direct sort of made me think of the game. Really good.
Well, that's how good the game is, because I remember in that you literally you're like, right, I am sticking to because I'd heard like this game's 300 hours long or whatever. I'm like, I don't have that time. I'm sticking to the main quest. And then literally the first thing you see is like, okay, you walk in that direction and it just leads you on a path and then another path and all this, and you're just gone. You're just in the wasteland, and that's the greatest thing about them. And if that's what this is going to be,
well, it feels like that's but then what makes it good TV on top is there's a reason for why she's going out, because she's obviously trying to find her dad. So you care. So then it makes all those sort of fetch quests work, because she's got to. Honestly, you're gonna, when you watch the next 2 episodes, you might, this show's amazing. There's some really, really good stuff. I don't want to say anything more.
I'm already in like it.
The ghoul comes in fully, and he is just, that's Walton, obviously irradiated, and he is, shall we say, awesome is the word. When
he's always
fully
awesome.
Because he comes in when they get him out of the grave, right, in episode 1.
Yeah.
But then when he comes in fully in the next 2 episodes, he is just, there's a really, really good shootout.
Something I'll say too about the show, it's in a very interesting structure, the way that first episode goes as well, because it's kind of like, we're not going to cut back and forward, like introducing all our characters in our A plots, B plots, or whatever. It's literally named title cards, right? And
that
then
was
it
a clever way to do it. It's almost like 3 mini episodes.
Exactly, yeah. It was going for ages too, because I think you wanted a file or something, Matt, and I'm like, I'm just in the first episode here, and I'm like, oh shit, it's still got 20 minutes to go. Like this, it's got length on it, but that's good. That's what you should do for shows these days. That should be the length they need to be.
Yeah. Then there's extra characters that are introduced in the next couple episodes as well, which is cool.
The thing,
whenever a new character is introduced, it has the
slam card.
Boom.
Cool. It's
very cool.
One of the things that captivated me about it was the tone, just the comedic tone of it,
it's
and
like
how
Twin Peaksiness. It's definitely like that.
Yeah, and everything's shot. But everything matches. So how it's coloured, the set design, how it's shot, how it's edited, it all fits in together. There's nothing that stands out as being, it's really well acted, it's really well scripted, but maybe how it was too dark or whatever. It's very much the kind of, and again, going back to Jonathan Nolan, he was very good at that with Westworld. Everything, and it's quite interesting to see him do almost a tonal shift, I think.
Because it's very cartoonish. It's not grim, and like she goes to a settlement in an upcoming episode, and it's like it feels really full of life, and there's random characters, like there's the chicken fan and stuff, which is just like hilarious. But anyway, you've not seen it, so
no, I have to watch those. But
first episode, it kind of top marks.
100%.
10 out of
10
10
stars.
10 stars.
It feels very Sam Raimi-esque, I think.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
like it's very cartoonish, and it's like this is a game. This has got gamey stuff in it, and it's not like afraid. It doesn't pretend that it's not like a game.
Yeah,
But it's
I
not
tell you
treating
what,
it as a joke, though. That's the thing. I
No,
think
it's all within its own world. It's very serious. It's like you say, like a Sam Raimi film. They're ridiculous and cartoonish, but at the same time, it's all very earnest, and it's got that. It's great.
Yeah, I tell you what, we run about the golden age of TV, which I think the past few years has very much been that, and we're kind of living in that period. But something else that's quite interesting that's happened recently is computer game adaptations. Computer game adaptations are
They
working
finally
so
figured it out.
well.
Finally realised that they just need to
Me TV shows.
Yeah.
and then just stay true to it. Be good.
So here's a question.
Like the original Mario Brothers, they were like, "Yeah, we'll not do it like Mario." And back then, games were simpler as well. So obviously, narrative games have got a lot more complex. But Fallout's been around for 20 odd years, longer since the 90s, hasn't it?
So I do. I mean, I like that Super Mario Brothers film, but that's a discussion for another day. I haven't seen the most recent one, but I'm on about
It doesn't
the
make you
Fox
think of the
one.
games, though, does it?
No.
The most recent one's fine, it's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong.
Here's a
nothing wrong
question
with it.
then, throw out for debate. If we're going through this whole TV video game adaptation thing, what video game would you two like to see adapted to either TV or film?
Portal. I like Portal. That's a good game.
Okay.
Or Half-Life. That's another one.
Well, that was going to be mine. But yeah.
You'd probably squish those together, right? Because as Portal has some narrative to it, but they would need to flesh things out to make a show and kind of have, you need to. She eventually gets out of her facility and sees there's other ones or something. You can't just have someone doing puzzles.
Because they are the same company, right? Aren't they? They're Valve, aren't they? Yeah.
I think Portal started out as a mod, and then they liked it so much they made it into a real game.
So you could smash Half-Life, Portal, and Team Fortress into essentially one thing.
The orange box or whatever. What was it? That was it, wasn't it?
The orange box.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
The greatest deal in gaming of
they
all
will
time.
surely be thinking about Half-Life, but the problem is they've still not done Half-Life 3, and they're never gonna. And Half-Life 2 ends on a flipping cliffhanger, doesn't it?
Well, I've never played Half-Life 2 because I've only got consoles now. And you can't get it on console. So I've not played it. But Half-Life 1 is one of the best video games I've ever played.
Half-Life 2 is so much better.
Really?
Yeah, Half-Life 2 is the best first-person shooter game, just ever.
I wish they did it on PS4.
Wasn't the orange box Half-Life 2?
I was thinking about Xbox 360 though, mate. That was 20 years ago. which is insane to think about. We don't want to think about that. That's too much.
I downloaded Fallout 4. I'm gonna play Half-Life Fallout 4 again because of the show.
You see because they've got 76 is the online one, right? And that's popped off now on Steam.
It's not very good though. It's not very good.
But but the kids like it because just insane shit can happen in it. It's not as narrative focused. Like there's not as many branching storylines and stuff. But you can just do whatever you want in that nutso world.
Well, that was what was interesting about the Fallout TV show is like the Brotherhood stuff. I was just like, I don't know if this is accurate or not to the game because I was like, because I never joined them because in the game you do what you want, don't you? So I never joined up with the Brotherhood. I never went in a power suit or any of that. I'm assuming you could.
Oh, the only thing that I had to do with them was that they would just fucking destroy you if you ever went anywhere near them. So I was just like, no thanks. I don't like this. I like to be a little grub. Like I like to be a little like rogue kind of guy on my own out there.
Yeah. Unless you get a dog. You get a dog in Fallout 4 and then it's like, I got a doggy.
And someone kills your dog and then it's all sad. That's how it goes, isn't it? Any dog in any media that they make you like is going to get killed. So they just don't get attached to the dog, That's what I say.
You didn't answer that question, though, Florey. What game would you like adapted?
Zelda, isn't it? They're doing it as well, Zelda.
Yeah, they're doing this movie that I don't want them to make though. This is the trouble being too close to things. It's like I'd love to see it, but I don't want it to happen because I don't believe that they can do it. I'll have to do it,
What's that mech game called? That's really good. Titanfall.
You like those?
That'd be a cool movie.
That was a cool world, yeah.
Because you're in a big mech suit. So if
Yeah.
Cool.
I think game-wise, I mean, I always just look over here and it's like, because I've got all my bullshit over there, but I probably would rather. Well, that's the thing about Zelda. The games are a quest you're setting out to do in a similar way. Like they're a lighter kind of exploration kind of RPG thing as well. So I would much rather that be some sort like if Studio Ghibli did an animated TV show, that would be perfect. Do that instead of whatever this
Other
thing
old
is.
ones, isn't there? Like System Shock. That's a good game.
Mm.
It's like you're on a space station and there's an evil AI that's
Dead
sort of
Space.
trying to get you, and that'd be good. Yeah, Dead Space is a good one.
They could do a Dead
Thing.
Space right now, you know?
That's the thing in space, isn't it?
With religious nut jobs and all sorts of stuff, yeah. Actually, Dead Space. I love Dead Space. I love the first Dead Space.
A good Doom movie where they just went absolutely metal with it would be pretty cool.
Yeah. But they did.
They did a bad Doom movie that just didn't really.
But then does it work like you've got Halo? Like I know there are fans of Halo. I have not watched it.
Halo 3 is an amazing game to play, but the story stuff in Halo is so convoluted. I myself I've never been able to fathom what any of it is, what these aliens are, what it is. It's just really good to play. Halo 3 is a really good game to play. But
and that's the problem with
crap.
That's the problem with game adaptations for the most part, like the big classic franchises. They, like you said earlier, Matt, they're bare bones. Like they don't have, there's not that depth to them.
Well, that's what's clever about this Fallout is that they've obviously they've based it in that world, but then they've made all new characters because there's no Vault 33 or that trifecta thing, you know, because there's the 3 different vaults that are linked. I don't remember that being in any of the games. I could be wrong because the games are so massive, but so it's just its own thing within that universe, which is quite a smart way to do it because then you get new interesting characters, don't you?
Even if those concepts, though, are like in the games, they've still taken them and sort of pushed them forward, it seems like, and made its own thing. I think that's where this guy, this Nolan chap's like really good. He just seems to be able to get his team together and go, right, to see the tone that it needs, like to see what it needs to be. Like an adaptation of Westworld that turned into that. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's like if his brother does do The Prisoner, it should get Jonathan on to write it because obviously he could probably get a good knack for how to do The Prisoner.
That's a really good point. I would actually prefer Jonathan Nolan to do The Prisoner than I would Christopher Nolan to do The Prisoner.
Well, Christopher Nolan's an amazing director, but I don't think his writing is as strong.
No.
Personally, I don't think his script's that great.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be interested to know what Jonathan Nolan's written for him, which ones, because I know that they've
Did he do The Dark Knight together or Batman?
He didn't do Batman Begins. That was David Goyer. He did Dark Knight. And then
I'm just going to do a bit of a IMDb.
I don't think he did Rises. I think the only Batman one was... he did Memento, didn't he, with him?
Who did The Prestige, because that is one awesome movie.
Well, that's what I'm guessing. Yeah, he's known... What's he? Writer on Westworld, Person of Interest, Interstellar, Dark Knight Rises, Dark Knight, Prestige, Memento.
Don't like.
You don't like half of those, but see, I like them.
Memento is good. I like Memento a lot, but I've never rated Interstellar. I don't like it.
No, I don't like Interstellar.
You guys are just dumb, you know.
I am the king. I'm the king of taste here, as we already discussed earlier on. My opinion is correct, and everyone else's is wrong.
I like The Prestige. The Prestige was great.
Is brilliant. I love
Prestige
it.
is his best film.
Dunkirk is really, really underrated as well. I like Dunkirk a lot.
Speaking of wrong opinions, we've also been watching Shogun.
Oh, man, I love Shogun. The Anjin, he's such an idiot.
Worst English accent ever, even though
he's brilliant. His voice is brilliant because he sort of sounds like Winston Churchill, and because he's a buffoon, so it fits the character. It's on purpose. He's doing that on purpose because he's a
James. I
idiot.
Fucking hated him at the start, and now I absolutely love him. So
he is the best because he's just bumbling through all this. He doesn't understand what anyone's saying, and yet he carries on. And then he ends up being like super important to them for some reason.
Yeah, well, Yeah, we won't get into it too much on this one because James has only watched episode 1.
Well,
I'm
I
up
do
to date.
vaguely know the story because it's based on it's based on a real dude, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a book that's
a novel,
adapted
yeah,
for this, and
they-
an
they-
old TV show.
Concentrated more on the Japanese characters and stuff, I think, than the old.
Mhm.
And I love that it's like almost from their point of view more than his. So the fish out of water thing just really works.
Just an incredible production, like all round. It sucked me in straight away. I can't believe how I don't want to say it's entirely accurate because who the fuck knows, right? But I think they know, and it feels like they know, and they've made the right choices in the right places. They've cast the right people, and it just really, really works. Like shooting on all these locations is incredible.
Prestige vibe to it. It's real prestige TV. It's really good.
Yeah, you got old mate Scorpion as the head honcho there, who's just like Japan's best actor, probably. I don't know. Like, he's incredible all the time. Just he doesn't say anything, and he just can sit there and just like stare a hole through anyone, and you're just like, oh my god, this guy's the best.
I like the uncle guy. What's he?
I just call him the drunk uncle, even though he's not anyone's uncle and he's not drunk. But
because he's from Thor, isn't he? Right? He's from the Thor movies. That's what I know him from. He's one of the warriors.
Yeah. Is that the same guy?
Yeah, I think so. And
Yeah,
he's
awesome.
so charming because he's like there boiling people in pots, and yet you still like him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like him. He's really charming and cool. Yet he's a murderous maniac.
That's yeah. Well, there's that. Well, that's the thing though. But like, are they though? They're a product of where they
just
are.
do
This is what we do, you know. Like that's the thing.
There's
That's
lots of
what's so interesting
shenanigans,
about it, and having that outsider sort of perspective of old. What's his name? Blackthorn, right?
the engine. I just call him engine because they do.
Yeah, the pilot, which just means pilot, you know, which is
because he's the
ridiculous.
boat's pilot. Yeah.
Just having him there to constantly the way that he talks and the way that he sort of, it's very much like that he shows up to this place by accident or whatever, and just immediately thinks that he's gonna be able to just like put influence on them, and instead they're just like absolutely fucking not, mate. Not a chance in hell.
Like
he's just
British
a piece of
people
shit.
going on holiday. So like when you go to Spain and they're just like, I want my egg and chips. Where's my egg and chips? It's that, but like in war-torn Japan.
Yeah,
in the 1400s or whatever. 1500s.
It's so funny. Where's the Daily Mail? I need my newspaper in English. English, sir.
He's just acting like a man from Doncaster in Benidorm.
Oh,
it
just gets all the situations he gets into are hilarious. But what the key thing is, and they call him a dog on multiple times, like good dog, and he doesn't know that they're saying that obviously, but is that he sort of means well, and he does ultimately seem to mean well, and that comes across, and I think that's why they like him.
Yeah. There's
as soon as I think and this is not really, it's not spoilers. We're not going too far into it, but like the thing that's gotten me is that it's once he starts, when they see and because of their culture, like when they see that he starts to put effort in and starts to respect their ways, then they kind of let him in more and more. And that to me is, and he kind of vibes that as well, even though he can't talk to most of them. He understands it and ends up going along with it instead of being so abrasive like he is in that second episode, you know. That's where it starts to work for me.
But then he uses that to his own advantage as well, his abrasiveness.
Sure.
A few times he just kicks off.
He's like, fuck it.
What are they doing?
Oh god.
When the cannons were used as well.
That's enough.
Not spoil it, but that was just like, holy shit.
So the reason that I started off this saying like about wrong opinions is because, James, you just watched episode 1 yesterday, right? Did you just watch it? Yeah. And what did you think?
It's all right.
You can be honest. If you didn't like it, it's fine.
No. I did. It was a strange one for me, right? Because so I sat
introductory, isn't it? Though, so a lot of introduction.
Yeah, I gave it my full attention. In the first 10 minutes, I'm like, I don't think this is for me. And then all this stuff started happening with the uncle and Blackthorn and all of that, and that really grabbed me the bit down the cliff and everything along those
Yeah,
lines.
it was a good bit.
Really into it. So I don't know. I think what my plan is, because I'm going on holiday, and so I'm on a big old plane flight. I'm going to download a couple more episodes.
Oh, perfect.
I'm going to give it a go on the plane.
Perfect.
And see how we get on. But there is a lot of stuff that I liked in there, like the world, just the world building was great. The mix of what seems to be on location shooting is beautiful, and maybe
cinematography is brilliant. They're using obviously old anamorphic lenses, so there's lots of
soft focus and
warping of the picture and stuff, which gives it a real sort of tangible, realistic feel. Really good.
Yeah, but also some of the backgrounds seem to be like old school matte paintings. So I don't know whether they're using whether they are using matte paintings or they're using CG or the Void or whatever. But I don't think I've seen a program that looks as good as that in a while.
No.
And there's enough about it. It's excellent. It's clearly amazing. It's clearly well made. I just don't know whether it's my kind of bag. I'm gonna have to watch.
Just keep going. You'll like it.
James,
the only other show I've recommended more strongly is probably Slow Horses, and I was correct about Slow Horses, wasn't I, James?
The only problem with this show, and I think the only problem that people are going to have with it, is that people don't want to read TV anymore. And it's all in Japanese. Like, we haven't mentioned this, but most of it is whenever they're speaking Japanese, it's in Japanese. A really clever.
He's speaking Portuguese, isn't he?
So any other language is in English, which is super interesting, because that's the kind of look, we've got to make a creative decision here, because we can't have everyone not understanding each other, and we can't have people push people too far with the subtitle stuff. We can't have them. We can't get an actor to speak Portuguese. Firstly, that's also English. Like, that would be interesting. I just think that's a great decision to have that English peppered in there, and so that we can have his little outbursts immediately understandable. I think that works really, really well. And when he's dealing with people that can speak Portuguese, like the guy from what's his name? But he refuses not to wear. He wears eyeliner no matter what, even when he was the mayor in the Dark Knight.
That's just what his eyes are like. That's just what his eyes are like.
No, he's wearing eyeliner. He loves a bit of eyeliner. That guy.
Is Nestor Campbell or something?
That's it. Yeah. He's great for a few episodes too. It's awesome. James, if you get to the end of episode 4 and you do not like this show, I'll give you $1,000. So that's like £4.
And he's right though, because the end of episode 4 is just like, and when that guy is just screaming at them,
it's incredible.
Do this! And oh my god! And it's just like, what the hell?
It's a great show.
For me, the MVP in that first episode was Nestor Carbonell's character. He was brilliant.
Great.
I liked him. He's good. He's the mayor in one of the Batman films, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, just said that.
Florey did just say that.
Oh, did you? I was reading IMDb. Sorry.
It's okay. Didn't I do a quiz for what Star Trek character are you for like 30 minutes last episode?
I think
that's fine.
No, the guy Cosmo. What's he called? Cosmo
Jarvis, which is an insane name.
You like him more and more and more because he's just such a bumbling idiot.
Look, I will say there's enough in it for me to go. It is 10 stars. It's 10-star program, 100%. I just don't know whether it's for me yet, but there's enough in there for me to warrant watching a couple of other programs. A couple of other episodes.
I love it. I really love it.
I did get lucky. I got lucky with it because it was one of the few times that I've had a quiet afternoon. I was like, nah, fuck, I'm not doing anything. So I think I watched 1, 2, and 3, like all in one sitting when it started, and I was like, fuck this. There's no show better than this. I was in it, you know?
I was tired last night, so I only had time to watch the one because I'd stayed up the previous night for the Steelbook release, and to watch the Golf Masters because that was on.
The first episode, obviously, it's introductory. Bloody Masters. It's introductory, the first episode, but it also sort of feels a little bit pilot-esque. It's like that sort of, it's very, just laying it all out, and then
it reminded me of that first episode of Game of Thrones in terms of how it was in that regard.
It's very comparable to Game of Thrones, but better.
Now, here's a question
Oh.
that is pertinent to all three of these programs that we've discussed, and it is around the release model and how they are released into the wild. Now,
I already
X-Men
said
is
on Twitter.
Yes, I know. That's why I brought it up.
Oh, all right.
X-Men is released weekly. Fallout's just been dumped online, and Shogun is weekly, from what I can gather, but I'm quite a few behind. Discuss.
I like weekly, and I always have. That's because it's the water cooler thing, isn't it? Because then you talk about that, and then you have a week to digest what you watched. It's like this X-Men thing. You can think about what happened and what might happen, and it just leads to more excitement when it comes out. Yeah. So, like Fallout, I would prefer it if it was weekly because we would watch it weekly. But I liked it so much that we ended up watching 3.
Yeah.
And then I feel a little bit like, like if you gorge yourself on 20 McNuggets, you're loving it while you're eating it, but then afterwards you feel a bit sick.
Yeah,
that was like great.
That. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not a fan at all. I much prefer weekly. It's like why Mandalorian, that first season of Mandalorian, because up till that point, streamers were all just dumping. And I think that was one of the first times a streamer was like, we're doing it weekly. And I guess Disney just did it to be different from Netflix. WandaVision was after Mandalorian. Mandalorian was what started. Mandalorian started Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about it because it was every week and you didn't know what was going to happen and it was something different, which is funny because that's just how shows used to be. Like the original water cooler show is like Twin Peaks and the X-Files, right?
Yeah.
People were like, holy shit, what happened this week? And they'd go to work and talk to their work friends about what Mulder did or what happened in Twin Peaks that was particularly mental.
Which was everything.
It creates a buzz, but now it's like this instant now. I need it now, all at once now, and then it's done and gone, and then they've got to bring something else out because it's done and gone. And nothing's got any permanence. So it just dissolves away and is forgotten about.
For me, it depends on what the structure of the show is, because if shows are, if they're made properly, they will make them they'll have that release plan in mind, right? So the reason old shows had stuff that were like, oh, that's a big cliffhanger, what's going to happen now, is to make you watch the next week. They knew that they needed to have something to make people come back.
Star Trek didn't have that. TNG, they were all self-contained episodes, and I used to love looking forward to what was going to happen.
Sure, but then there's also become another type of show now too, which is made for the binge model, which is really just a long, ongoing thing. It doesn't have huge punch moments or whatever. It's more of a meandering pace that you do want to just continue watching because things happen, but I
don't like it.
But that's what that show's made for. You know what I mean? So I think all 3 of these shows probably should be week to week. Fallout, I haven't watched enough of it to know, but I'm loving X-Men and Shogun having breaks in between, because if I did watch that big first chunk of Shogun that I watched was probably too much, because you get that thing when you're walking around and you're like, all right, I'll go to bed, and you're still like, and you're kind of like you're in the world, you know. You
slide the door, get your socks.
I want to walk straight through the wall like Homer Simpson, but I can't. And just the X-Men thing again. Like if that was all at once, I probably would have freaked out. It would have been probably too much. I think with what
it's 20 McNuggets. It's too many.
That's not too many. We get 40 over here, bro. I don't know what you do.
40 McNuggets.
6 is the max I can do on a McNugget. 6. Anyway.
I agree with both of you to an extent. Matt, I think firstly, for me, it depends on the program. I think all 3 of these, as far as you said, these should be weekly episodes. And I think for a couple of reasons, all the reasons Matt said, I agree with. On top of that, you've got to think back to when TV programs were first brought out and made and created, and it was, to create airtime, to sell ads, and to create syndication. So with the advent of streaming, Netflix in particular, they didn't have that. So the theory was, let's just dump it all online, get as many people as we can watching, get as many subscribers, get them engaged. But then you create problems because then you're not bringing in new subscribers or you're not keeping them on board or everything along those lines. So there's all the business crap.
Creates a void.
But the thing that annoys me most about it is the fact that it seems to give news outlets, people on social media, they seem to think they have the right
To spoil.
to spoil it and to post stuff online. For the end, like you've already got articles now that are going, let's talk about that big shock ending at the end of Fallout. I don't know, like, or whatever. It's like, yes, Matt,
I've got a point.
go for it.
I don't want to spoil the thing, but also, nothing's given any chance, is it? Lockwood and Co. is dumped online. It's a really good show, but nobody watches it the first week. So then they go cancelled. But then it turns out to be one of the most watched Netflix programs.
Yeah.
X-Files and Next Generation, if they came out now, would get cancelled because the first couple of seasons weren't particularly strong. Next Generation especially, it was terrible. It was actually just bad. But like you say, because of the syndication thing, they just kept on making them because they need a certain... Do they need a certain amount for syndication?
Yeah.
Traditionally? Yeah.
Was that 100 episodes or something?
Something like that.
I think
yeah.
James is right.
So that's that for me. But then you take a documentary, and I don't see the problem in slabbing out all 3 parts in one go or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's so I think it's, but they've all now so entrenched in their models that's what they do. Like Netflix, everything will always come out. Amazon's the interesting one because Amazon, obviously, they've done Fallout and they've dumped it all online. I don't know whether they're experimenting with that because, like Reacher and all of those things that they did, they were all weekly.
Yeah, they were.
So it's quite interesting that they've dumped Fallout all in one go. So there must be some kind of thing there, rationale as to why they've done that versus Reacher. That's your dad's favourite program.
A younger audience. Right,
Maybe.
It's aimed.
Yeah.
Fallout is young. Is I bet you a lot of younger people are liking it because it's video games, and the people marketing it will think that, and then they think, well, younger people like to have it all at once because they have no bloody patience. But old men that like Reacher are like, we shall wait to watch The Large Man, and we shall watch The Large Man on a Friday, and we shall enjoy The Large Man in a measured amount.
Well, this is the thing, though. It's like almost like being the age that we are and the amount of work that we have to do and the other kids and whatever else, right? They turn into weekly shows anyway. Like an hour and 12 minutes.
We do it. We do that anyway, yeah.
I mean, an hour and 12 minutes each episode. I can't do a couple a night, like one after the other.
Somebody said that they watched Fallout all in one day. It's like, that's literally your whole day then. That's more than a day.
Time machine.
It's like... You didn't sleep for a day. What?
Well, they don't do that. But then you feel a pressure. Like now I kind of feel a pressure to watch Fallout and finish Fallout because otherwise some dickhead on Facebook's going to put something on there. And I'm like, well, whatever. So I lose interest more in programs that are dumped in one go than I do programs where you can kind of space them out.
Me too, but we're old and out of touch, obviously.
Yeah.
It was even the other day, though, like one last thing to wrap this up then. We were, because I'm ahead of you guys, so I usually watch, if I'm watching something on the day, like X-Men, I'll see it first, right? So I think in our little group chat, I just typed, everything's being ruined about this X-Men. It's probably the best thing you're going to do. Just watch it now. And it's like, that really does stink. So I think even for that reason alone, we need to go back to week to week.
I opened up Twitter and the first bloody post is a picture of Rogue holding somebody's dead body, and I was like, oh, great.
I saw that, and it was quite clearly Gambit as well.
Yeah,
so I'm like, fuck's sake. So yeah, that should be, if you run a blog and you do that, shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah,
and
but
take note.
You know, their blog gets more than 100 views a week, though. So maybe we need to start doing that, huh?
But we're not screaming the woke agenda ruined Hollywood or anything, are we? So.
I was going to, but I was saving that for next week.
Okay, yeah. And also, we don't use AI generated articles, which I'm seeing much more of nowadays.
Yeah, there was one that I clicked. You know, when you get caught by the hook.
Titties.
I don't remember what it was now. Just some stupid thing about some nerdy thing. I clicked it, and I was like, I'm having real trouble actually reading this. It was like hurting my head, and I was like, oh, "This isn't real." And
'Cause
then
the
I
words-
looked at the author, and the author was just the website, and I was like,
Yeah.
shit."
Because
It's
the
become
words make
self-aware.
sense, but the structure doesn't, does it? So
It
it's
didn't make any
like,
sense, but people don't read stuff. I've noticed like that Collider website, they just have bullet points of the information in the article,
yeah,
then 65 ads, and then the article. And I guess most people probably just read the first bullet point and then wander off.
And the article is in a drop down, so you have to click to
Yeah.
actually expand it.
Yeah.
It drives me
No-
fucking nuts.
No patience, anybody, just to sit down and just watch something.
Old man
Or
yells
read
at
something.
cloud.
right. We've got some questions. Let's dive
We're
into some
entering the
questions. I
Q and
think
A portion of the podcast.
should we start doing jingles?
Do.
Q&A.
Because much like Matt, I've just been advised my lunch is on the table as well.
Q&A. Yeah, I've got to make my lunch. Q&A.
Um,
Q&A. Q&A.
Making
Just
his
to
lunch
remind,
for
Adam
him.
Shepard was the winner last week. He's not reached out to us yet. So Adam,
Not listening to the podcast.
I'll take his tube.
take his tube.
That's
Okay.
4 copies of Escape from New York
We'll
by
do-
me. There you go.
Yeah, we'll do 2 or 3. So Carly AF has asked. Oh, Carly's coming to open house as well. So we're looking
Yay.
forward to having Carly at open house.
Nice.
Tickets available now. 8th of June, Steamworks, Sheffield.
She did
Yeah.
a very cool Guinan portrait thing that I saw. I think I retweeted it. Have I seen that before?
She did that for the 50th, I think.
Oh, that's really
Actually,
cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So going back to, there was some Nintendo talk last week. Would Vice Press do any video game posters? That would be very fun. What classic movie poster would you... Oh, that's a different question. Let's just do the one question. Video game posters. What video game would you do posters?
Doom.
Classics, definitely, 100%. I think we've
Uh,
answered this before, but it's worth
Fallout,
Mario.
obviously, now. Mario, yeah.
Zelda, Pokemon.
Yeah.
Doom. I go for all those sort of PC ones, Doom and Fallout and stuff.
Half-Life, Doom.
Quake.
It's kind of got to be stuff that's
Quake's
quite...
the best. 9 Inch Nails, man.
What have you done, Matt? I've done a Halo, and I've done a Fortnite, and I've
Nothing.
done...
Oh no,
Yes,
I did
you
one
have.
for a weird game called Warframe. I did something.
Oh,
for them.
yeah.
Cuphead.
Yeah.
I did Cuphead.
Yeah,
did,
you did
yeah.
Cuphead.
I
So-
spoke to people at id about Doom when they were doing, was it Doom Eternal? And I was like, yeah, I'll do some artwork. And then nothing happened.
No.
I think that, the Fortnite art that I did that no one knows about has probably been seen by more people than anything else I've ever done. But it amounts to nothing, because they got like 40 million players at any one time on that game. And I did a splash loading screen or whatever.
Yeah.
So you just think about that in like, I don't know, the 5 weeks that it existed in the game, and then it's just gone and no one knows about it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's an interesting one because there's the business behind it. We've ummed and ahed about doing video game stuff, and I think our approach to doing posters and releases is making them kind of cinematic, but also you've got to look at the collector base. I don't think kids really are going to go out and buy 40, 50 quid Fortnite.
You mean the
Screen
45-year-old
notes,
kids that
lithographs.
play video games? Yes.
That's why
Well,
it's
but
got to
yeah.
be the older games like your Dooms and your Marios and stuff where there's people with money. that will buy
Definitely.
it.
Well, I think what happens with the reason movie posters are a thing is because movie posters are a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like game posters are not so much. It doesn't evoke
Classic
anything.
movie posters are really collectible, and like, for example, to get like an original one sheet of, I don't know, Jaws or something is going to set you back a shit ton of money. But it's something people want. So then, you can come in and do something that's maybe a bit more affordable for those people.
Yeah.
But
But then
still
going back
collectible.
But then going back in the day, like I remember in my bedroom, I had as many computer game posters up on the wall as I probably did movies. Like I had a big ass
From
Quake
the
that was really
magazines
cool
and stuff, right?
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
loads of Kerrang stuff up. I didn't have anything up on my wall until I got into music in the mid-90s, and I had loads of Kerrang stuff like Metallica and Sepultura and stuff. Before that, I just drew all over my walls. I just drew on the walls. I drew a big Starship Enterprise and a big giant eye on one wall. It was just an eye.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God love him. I used to do that on my wall, paint on my wall. So my dad painted all my walls in Artex. to stop me doing it. You know, that really rough stuff that has the sand in it.
My dad painted the wall specifically so I could because I wanted to.
Good question, Carly. Thank you. Zambone's Film Emporium, who is new to watching, he got into it through Dan, who Dan wanted us to point out he didn't write that book. That we
we were talking shit. We were just kidding. We were just mucking around.
we were messing. We appreciate you watching. Loves our posters. Would you do any 007 posters, and if so, which ones?
No.
I think you have to if you're English. You have to.
I'll tell you why, because I'm pretty sure that's one of the most protected brands, film brands, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't let an artist do what they wanted. I would want to do something that hark back to the old movie posters of the old Bond ones, and then just be like, no, it's got to be a photo of old Craigie boy.
Yeah. Dan,
there's a reason you don't see them.
You see them doing Heineken ads, and you see them doing Range Rover ads with James Bond in a Range Rover, and it's like millions of pounds behind these kind of things. So to do a poster, they just don't care to, because what do they get from it? 50p.
We did speak to Dan Jack many moons ago when it was very early, and they made it clear that they didn't want interpretive art, that they wanted... they were cool with reprints and stills and stuff like that, but they didn't want interpretive art. I'd love to, as more. There's only probably Ghostbusters that I'd want to do more than James Bond. But then you look at things like Paul Mann's unlicensed stuff that he's doing in commissions. They're perfect. They're kind of both a blend of new interpretive art.
That's when a commission is a good thing in a way, because there's no way that would get through the licensing.
No.
And it's really cool pictures that people really like. So
absolutely, and I don't think anyone could better them. Those Paul Mann ones are better than some of the original Robert.
My
McGuinness
only issue
ones.
is their legs are a bit long. That's a stylistic choice, clearly, because they're really long. That's
a long leg.
Sean Connery's like a bit of a tub, isn't he? Though he's like quite a stocky guy. So that's my only issue. But it's on purpose, because they're referencing kind of old novel, like pulp novel artwork and stuff, so it's definitely on purpose.
100%. And he's just kind of looking at those old Robert McGuinness ones and things. I think there's King and McGaw do they do more high-end version of post releases and things. I think they do that, but not gonna happen, sadly. But some things you just have to lay to rest. There. Oh, here's an interesting one. With the Phantom Menace, so this is by Elena, with the Phantom Menace, along with a fantastic poster by Matt Ferguson, being re-released in cinemas this May. The Mummy is coming back to theatres for the 25th anniversary. It is. We're doing some stuff for The Mummy this year. We've got an awesome poster that's in production at the moment. But that's not the question. That's just me
Shilling
on the back of that comment. But you don't really see many posters for The Mummy. We're really looking forward to that. What other film would you like to see return to theatres for a big upcoming anniversary?
Oh,
fucking Transformers the movie in 2026.
There you go. Yeah, we'll just go with that. I mean, what could be better? I mean, I'd need to know what anniversaries were coming up, but it feels like everything is an anniversary now because we're old.
Of course it is,
I would love to see. One of the first real memories I have of seeing a film was the Ninja Turtles film, 1990.
Yeah.
I was, I guess, 6 years old, going to see that with Dad, and that was a fucking cool movie. I would like to go and see that again in the cinema. I don't. It's not one that seems to have ever really happened since, but I'd love to see that.
Should we do that? Should we do a screening of the Turtles?
Do
a screening of the Turtles.
I'll do a
poster.
Not
this year because we've got
done.
You've already done a poster. I'll do
another.
Let's do.
You've done it too. Talk to me.
Yeah, mine was old. Mine. I'll do a poster.
Mine was
there
old.
We go.
Yeah, you shut up.
35th anniversary Turtles 2025. There we go. We'll do a screening of Turtles for that.
Next year at Thought Bubble, we'll line up and I'll do the poster.
There we go.
I'll do a poster.
There you go. There was a good question. I'm just looking for it. I mean, they were very good as well. Someone did mention the other day in the comments that Matt Berry would be perfect as Brian Blessed's part in Flash Gordon.
He's in Fallout, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm trailed. Look forward to that bit.
Well, you're
but
not going to
yes,
see his
agree.
face. Is all I
I
shall
know.
say.
I know who he is. That's one thing I do know about it. I love that Matt Berry has been recognised now. He's just in everything. He's in a Star War. He's now in a Fallout. Like you just see popping up as either voices or small parts in things. It's just the best because he is literally the best.
If you watch the new series of We Only,
it never existed here, so I'll have to get it on the Dodge.
you know, because Nandor going into space is my.
Oh, you're talking
highlight.
about that?
Fucking high, you guys.
I thought you were talking about Toast.
No, not the new Toast was weird. It wasn't actually that good.
Oof.
But no, that Nandor going into space was so funny.
Yeah, it was.
So
yeah, they
funny.
jumped the shark a little bit with that new series of Toast. I couldn't.
It was
couldn't...
it was surreal, like to a like another level. So it had some funny stuff in it, but it was extremely surreal.
I think Fred Armisen was involved more, wasn't he? So it had that more Portlandia vibe.
I love Portlandia. I love
Oh, do you?
Portlandia.
It's got some real laughs in it. Don't worry, it's really funny, but it's not as good.
I was going to say before when we were talking about Fallout that Kyle MacLachlan, like it works so well because he's everybody's dad. He's Agent Cooper, but he's like the mayor of Portland as well. One of his great roles.
Oh, really?
Oh, have you never seen Portlandia?
No.
Oh my goodness!
Cal
I mean,
is
I've
just an
seen
all-time
bits, but
classic
not-
oddball. I just think he's the best oddball.
He is.
Question for you two then. Art question.
Ooh,
Arty
boring.
question. Art podcast. Yeah. This from Leaf's Wanderings. If you could go back in time and change one of your designs, what would it be and why would you make that change?
Oh, bloody hell.
Every single one.
Yeah,
of them?
every one. That's what I was going to say as well. It's just 10 minutes after you're done with it, you find something that needs changing. And this is why we've talked about this before, but I know, probably in private, but I think that's what makes the artistic brain like strive to get better is that you always think everything you've done is shit. He agrees.
Is there any that I think is particularly shit?
Of yours or Florey's?
Yeah, let's do each other's. Every single one.
Escape from New York could have been a bit better, eh?
We loved that when
Oh,
I was
I
making it, though. We did.
I know,
We
yeah.
did, yeah.
I look at it now and I just think there's stuff that could have been better. It's really weird.
I mean,
But I think that about everything.
Yeah,
everything.
it's true.
Not even my own artwork. Everything I ever see.
you know what?
Ever.
Well, you guys know what I'm working on, but I pulled up Rathaka. Like, you sometimes have a poster where you're like, yeah, I did that. That was good. And I remember thinking at Thorwald, I go, that Rathakhan poster, that's all right. I've done that. And then I pulled it up today to check something on it and look at it. I'm like, oh, fucking load of shit. This is. I'm just, it's just the way of it. Like, it's just the way of it.
Yeah. The only one I'm like generally happy with. This is more the better version of the question, and I wouldn't change is the Empire Strikes Back.
Oh,
But there's even aspects to that where I would probably just soften a few edges, and like maybe just illustrate some of the whatchamacallit, the chamber a little bit better, a little bit more loose. Because I always want stuff to be loose, and then I always end up not
Draws
being
a
loose
photograph.
at all.
Yeah.
I'm like been working on the Planet of the Apes, and I was like, I'm going to make this one all loose and painterly, and then it ended up just being tight, and I was like,
You're just too good, Matt. Just too good.
no, because I want it to be loose. So I'm obviously not that good, and I think I'm getting good at putting loose elements in. So one of my favourite ones from last year is the Mad Max that I did, because although it's very tight, in the middle, his face and everything, but all the outer bits and like his hands, if you actually look at it, they're just kind of, and it's hard to do that just to go with a paintbrush and then it look like something. It's easier to hyper detail it, so that's why I hyper detail, because I'm not very good at drawing.
There you go.
Agreed.
There's a question here from. We'll do two more. And
Okay,
we'll decide
boss.
on our favourites. So Kanogue asks, how do you decide on which films join your film vault? We don't decide. We have.
We make suggestions and then we're roundly ignored.
It's Warner Brothers. We like our. This is kind of an interesting question for us to clear up a little bit, I think, because I think there's a lot of misconception online that the film vault is ours. We're working with Warner Brothers and Universal to produce the art, but they very much decide on the titles. What they decided on the Steelbook release, and the packaging and things like that.
Yeah,
we make suggestions and we kind of have input.
I never wanted the fucking bricks in it. I don't give a shit. I'll tell you, I never wanted the fucking plastic bricks. They're crap.
We were roundly against
How about
those.
You could edit that out if you want, James, or leave it in. I don't care.
I'm going to leave it in because I think it's fair. Because we didn't want those, and I think there's been a decision if Wave 3 happens to move away from those.
I think so, yeah.
Because they again acknowledge that they caused the issues with the damaging, the shipping, and things along those lines. We love the film vault, and we're kind of fully committed to that, and we love producing the art. There are some elements that Warner Brothers and Universal acknowledge need changing, and we're working on that. And the Steelbook release was to obviously kind of cater to a collector base that wasn't kind of really built into it. So we don't know. We've made suggestions for Wave 3. I
like to think I had a good suggestion. We'll see if it happens.
There was definitely some good suggestions. So yeah, it could be if it happens and we get what we want, it could be the best. It could be the best wave, basically. Put it that way.
And the chap that's heading up Film Vault now over at Warner Brothers has really got his head screwed on. He's a great guy. He's kind of really getting us involved with it more. So
it's just a difficult process when there's us, and then there's somebody making packaging, and then there's the UK team, and then there's the Universal UK team, and then there's the US team, and then the US University. So there's like an awful lot of people, all with opinions.
Yeah.
And the only person with the right opinion is me, and nobody fucking listens to me.
Yeah. Last question.
Right, go.
This is a fun one. This one is from what's his name? From Danny. Not got his name. It was a question on YouTube. He asked one question, then changed himself. Said this one's better. Who has the better filmography? Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger? And what would you say is the pinnacle? Oh no, just that first question.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger.
Mostly because he did less crap. So like Sylvester Stallone's highs are really high. So for example, you've got obviously Rocky, which was his first proper movie. Brilliant, and he's better actor technically than Arnold Schwarzenegger. He just made terrible choices with some of his movies. Yeah, like the Judge Dredd movie is not very good. But then he also did like Copland in a similar time period, right?
Yeah.
Copland's amazing, and his performance is Oscar worthy. But Arnie just made better choices and knew his limitations, so he just did maybe less films but better. So you Predator, Conan.
Well,
Conan was one of his first big ones.
Crowd pleasers.
Terminator. Yeah, Terminator 2 is really good all the way up until like The Last Action Hero, and then it gets a bit shaky after that.
Because The Last Action Hero rules.
Oh, Last Action Hero is amazing. That's an underrated movie, big time.
Agreed.
What happened there? Why did they I remember being alive at that point, and everyone was like, "Arnie's done. This is the worst movie ever made." I'm like,
came
what
out
the
like
fuck
the
are you
week
talking
after
about?
or the week before Jurassic Park. That's why.
Okay,
it came out the same month as Jurassic
I
Park,
getting
and just got
shat on
obliterated
for years.
Yeah, but it's because everyone was like, "Well, Jurassic Park is the one." Because they were the two big movies that year, and people just went Jurassic Park. Like me as a kid, I went Jurassic Park, mad.
Oh, sure.
And I didn't give two shits about it. And I didn't watch it until DVD years and years later, Last Action Hero.
There's a really, really, really good book called Last Action Heroes by Phil DeSemlin, and it talks about Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, all of those guys and the rise of their career.
Planet Hollywood.
It's brilliant. It's worth either reading or listening to an audiobook. And one of the chapters is about Last Action Hero, and it's Jurassic Park is 100% why Last Action Hero failed for lots of different reasons. Firstly, the marketing. Secondly, people were kind of it was at a time when people were relatively struggling income-wise, much as they are now, so they didn't they're going to see one film, they're not going to go and see multiple. But also there was the hubris of folks behind Last Action Hero they honestly thought that Jurassic Park was going to tank. So they deliberately went up against Jurassic Park because they thought it was going to be.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was the biggest actor on the planet, and it was a massive budget and all these things that it had going for it. And at the time, that's what mattered. But Jurassic Park was one of those turning points, like Star Wars, where the actors and the stars are not what's important. It's the fucking dinosaurs that are important.
Correct. But you go back and watch Last Action Hero now; it's brilliant.
It's an amazing movie. It's perfect, and it's undermined and sort of is obviously all about that kind of movie. And is like, you know, it's got his Hamlet is like one of the best things ever. It's so good.
I think it's more relevant. now as well.
He says to be honest, not to me. It's amazing. Amazing.
I think we've also got used to things being much more. It was ahead of its time.
I was going to say, was it like?
Very meta.
It's a Shane Black joint, isn't it? Is it Shane
Did
Black?
people not get it at the time though? Because I remember reviews being really bad.
No.
Yeah.
It's
they were
highly
quite
satirical of the genre, and I guess that's probably like people are like, huh?
Just blow the thing up.
I mean, it was awesome. Awesome.
Cool. Have we got a favourite question from you guys? And
That one.
That I agree with that one actually.
Go for it.
Yeah. Cool. Hit us up. We'll send you a mystery tube.
Done. Look at that.
Anything else?
Well, what's coming? I usually go to you for this bit, James, because you know what's actually happening and what's coming up. Is there anything happening this week, or?
I'm on holiday.
He's going on holiday tomorrow.
So there'll be no episode next week unless you two are
Yeah,
going to
we'll do
record
one
on your own.
I'm in charge while he's away, which means that everything's going to get burnt down.
Just take my APs out of the office.
You'll come back from holiday and it'll just be burnt out, and me just going, I don't know what
Just in his undies with the lighter, like.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until that time, I mean, I guess, well, Matt, we probably have to watch Beyond Thunderdome for next week and just do that, right? Because we've promised it for the last 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. We'll do that next week. Done. Decided.
Oh,
Thunderball.
Yeah,
I'm watching Rollerball.
Ian Fleming's Thunderball.
The poster you always wanted to make.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And with that, thanks for sticking with us, gang. That was a fun episode. And we'll see you, if not next week, the week after, with a bit more shenanigans. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good gear. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.